Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mowers will practically build themselves.
The USS Birmingham, a Cleveland-class light cruiser, CL-62, was launched on the 20th of March 1942 and commissioned the 29th of January 1943. The ship was in the 14,000-ton category, 610 feet 3 inches long, which was 2 feet longer than the Arizona, by the way, 65 feet 7-inch width or beam, and its draft was 24.7 inches. It was armed with 12 6-inch 47 caliber guns in triple turrets, 12 5-inch 38 twin-mounted guns as the dual-purpose anti-aircraft and anti-ship guns, 28 40mm Bofors in quad and dual mounts, and 10 of the 20mm oil can, whatever you want to call them, guns. And she had a maximum speed of 32.5 knots. In September of 1943, she was transferred to the Pacific Fleet, where she took place in raids on Tarawa in September, Wake Island in October, and in the Solomons. In the Solomons, she was part of the Battle of the Empress Augusta Bay, which took place on the 8th and 9th of November. This is probably the most famous battle for the Clevelands, because she was along with her sisters, the Cleveland, the Columbia, the Montpelier, and the Denver. This was the first major action for the Cleveland light cruisers. The Birmingham's gunners shot down at least 4 enemy planes during the daytime. The Japanese planes did hit the Birmingham in 2 places with bombs and torpedoes. And you can see the bomb damage on the aft end and the torpedo damage up here on the bow. The ship's casualties included 2 killed and 34 wounded. And the hits kept her out of the night surface battle with the Imperial Japanese Navy fleet that followed. Birmingham had to retire to Mare Island for repairs, which lasted till February of 1944. The Battle of Empress Augusta Bay took place on the 1st and 2nd, but the evening battle took place on the early morning hours of the 2nd of November 1943. The U.S. had these 4 Clevelands that I talked about earlier and 8 destroyers. They went up against 2 heavy cruisers, 2 light cruisers, and 6 destroyers of the Imperial Japanese Navy. The U.S. had 1 cruiser damaged and 2 destroyers were damaged and 19 personnel were killed. However, the Japanese had 1 light cruiser sunk, 1 destroyer sunk, a heavy cruiser damaged, a light cruiser damaged, and 2 destroyers heavily damaged and lost nearly 700 personnel. Attention on deck. USS Birmingham CL-62 ready for action.
Mad Dog Murph, welcome to the Kid Hoarder Stash. Today, we have got one I'm really excited about. It is the USS Birmingham. I can never say that right. It's CL-62. It's by Very Fire, which is another one of those Chinese companies, very similar to Trumpeter. We'll see how similar, but I'm excited to get into this and take a look at it. It came out, I want to say about 6 years ago, is how long it's actually been out on the market. And yet I just found out about it not too long ago. So I'm excited. We'll check this out, decide which one we're going to build, whether it's the Cleveland, the Birmingham, whatever. But let's see what's inside this box. Okay, so here's what the box looks like. You saw the front earlier. And you get some pictures of the partially built or the built and unpainted model here. A little bit of the history of the Birmingham. Wow. I can never get that right. I don't think I ever will. And some color call-outs, painting guide. That's kind of nice. Not sure that it's accurate. In fact, I know that it's not. But we'll talk about that later on. And look at these instructions. Very nice instructions. There's actually a color guide in here. And the problem is it calls out 5L, which is not 5L. That's 5H for haze gray. So they've got that wrong there, but you know.
Okay, let's take a look at these instructions. Got your parts call-outs. Assembling the hull. Looks like you're marking some places for some guns to be put. Lots of deck detail here and putting the guns together. Looks like we have a photo etch crane. The Kingfishers. Supposed to be Kingfishers, I believe. Barbettes. This is kind of interesting. It looks like it has some deck walkway detail. So we'll check that out and see when we get into it. And here we're doing some photo etch. The bridge, and putting photo etch on the bridge. Very nice. Stacks, radars, more photo etch. Looks like we got some guns we're putting on, some radars we're putting on. More details. Yeah, these are pretty extensive instructions. There's got to be a lot to this kit. And then some of the final things that we're going to be putting on here. These look to be photo etch as well. And the cranes, and the aircraft, and we're done. So now let's look at the plastic. Okay, here we have the hull. The top and bottom are one piece, which is great. You just have side to side. That should be really easy to put together and take care of that seam. So here is our photo etch. Yes, there is some photo etch to this. We don't have the railings on the entire length of the hull, but this is all of the upper works. That looks really good. And this particular sprue, I want to say there's 2 or 3 of these. You have some aircraft handling cranes, some nice radars. Yeah, that'll be some nice extra radar for some other project. Here we have a bunch of deck fittings and some very nice looking life rafts. Ooh, this is exciting. There's 3 of these sprues here. And a couple of these. Here's your quad 40s, your looks like those are supposed to be 20 millimeter oil cans. Some square rafts. Here you got 2 of these sprues, which are your aircraft, and these appear to be Kingfishers. The moldings and the detail all look really good on this. Here it looks like we have some catapults and some splinter shields. Very nice. These all look really, really good. I think there's only 1 of this particular sprue. Okay, there's 2 of this one. We've got some turrets. Well, a turret. Gun director. The screws. And one of the turrets had fallen off. Not great detail, but yeah, not bad. Not bad. It'll work, I think. We'll find out as soon as we get building it. And then we have 2 of these sprues. I don't know if they're much different, but you've got the anchors there. Looks like we've got a couple of these particular sprues. More life rafts. Wow, a bunch more deck fittings. And here are our 538s. More aircraft handling cranes. I'm not a big fan of these multiple piece 538s. I had this on my trumpeter North Carolina. Here are the funnels and some of the other details for the deck. Looks like lifeboat davits, whatnot. Here's some gun tubs and aircraft gun tubs, some splinter shields. Here is our bridge. It almost looks like there's some parts that might be there for a future square bridge. That's kind of interesting, a square bridge Cleavland in the future. And then we have the chain. I love the fact that this does come with some deck chain. You don't have to chisel that off of your deck. You've actually just put some chain on. That's good. And these walkway areas are kind of intriguing. I think they're supposed to simulate the mats, the interlocked mats that they used. Anti-slip. And here's your decking, and your deck looks really good. There are some holes that can be punched in it for added anti-aircraft. So there you go. And finally, the decals. Decals look good. I'm not going to take them out of the plastic. I don't want to get them hurt. So when it comes to painting, just so you know, Pit Road in 700 scale, that bottom call out there is for the 1944 version of the Birmingham. This dazzle camouflage scheme is something from 1944. So anyway, I hope you like this, folks, and well, we'll see you again next week on The Stash.